online. News 12's First Alert Traffic Network is sponsored by Mountaineer Pest Services. Protect your home at stopmybugs.com.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 First at 5.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp touring one damaged city following Hurricane Idalia's wrath.
And this weekend, with this beautiful cooler weather, folks expected to come out in droves to enjoy the rivers and the lakes.
And that's right. It's cooled off enough to where it's not unpleasant to be outside. It's great outside for us.
I know.
As we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Ronnie. Yeah, the lights are off for us. The lights are not off outside.
No.
Beautiful weather. The sun is out. Gorgeous football weather.
Yeah, looking great this evening. If you're heading out this evening, we got high school football games. We got the Green Jackets still in town, and they're going to stay in town through the weekend, and really couldn't ask for better weather. You can see we're actually seeing some high-level clouds just kind of filter through the region. That's helping block out the sun and keep our temperatures several degrees below normal this afternoon. 83 degrees right now in Aiken, and dew points are in the 50s, so it's feeling fantastic. Finally got rid of that humidity in the wake of that tropical system earlier this week. Here's the planner for this evening. Kickoff temps should be in the mid-70s, and then we'll drop down into the 60s by the end of game time. We'll likely hang on to this high-level cloud cover, but luckily no rainfall in the forecast. Now, today is the first day of September, so looking back at what we did during the month of August here in Augusta, our average high for the month was 92.5 degrees. That is right at normal, and then our average low temperature was about a degree below normal, but our average rainfall, or the rainfall we did see throughout the month of August, was about 2 inches over normal, so a pretty wet month, and luckily not excessively hot. Now, for the month of September, average high temp this time of year, low 90s. That'll drop to the mid-80s by the end of the month, and then our average low near 70, but dropping closer to 60 by September 30th. We'll have a look at the rest of the weekend for you in just a bit, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert Traffic.
All right, folks, it is Labor Day weekend, so I-20 is looking like a mess right now. You can see a big line of traffic, just a big backup here near the state line. So this is eastbound traffic. A lot of people trying to make their way eastbound closer towards the coast. So heads up if you do plan on traveling out there this evening. I would imagine there's definitely a lot more traffic than what we're used to. There's a look down I-20 from our Wheeler Road cam. So looking at the westbound lane here towards Atlanta, that appears to be moving okay. And then that eastbound lane here on the west side of Augusta doesn't appear to be backed up too much. We're dry right now and looking to stay dry through the weekend. Have a look at some cooler temps heading our way in just about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Riley. As our focus shifts to recovering from Hurricane Idalia, parts of southern Georgia have their work cut out for them. Areas like Valdosta near the Florida-Georgia line are experienced strong winds, heavy rain, and tens of thousands lost power amid that damage. Now, after Idalia swept through Valdosta Wednesday morning, around 277,000 households were left without power. Now there are approximately 70,000 still waiting for their power to be restored. The GEMA director estimates the storm cost $35 million in damages throughout Lowndes County alone. Now, Governor Brian Kemp saying that while he's grateful the storm had a narrow path through Georgia, people are still telling him it's one of the worst storms that they've ever experienced.
We are in this fight with this local community and the rest of them that were affected by the storm for the duration. We still have a lot of work to do, and we're going to be here and help get it done. So I just want to thank you all for being here, let you know that our biggest concerns continue to be getting roads cleared so we can get our power company personnel to the places they need to be to get power back on. We still have a few water issues that are mainly because we don't have power to those water systems, and we are working hard to alleviate that.
The Augusta chapter of the Red Cross is there now assisting in those recovery efforts. Just ahead at 5:30, we'll get the latest on what they're doing down there.
Cell phone carrier AT&T announcing it's waiving overage fees through the 8th for people affected by Idalia in Georgia and Florida. The company says this is to allow people impacted by the storm to still have unlimited talk, text, and data. If you want to help with the recovery efforts, you can make a donation to the Volunteer Florida Foundation through your AT&T phone bill.
Well, Labor Day marks one of the last holidays of the summer, and with this cooler weather, it's expected that people will flock to our rivers and lakes in full force this weekend.
But there are some new laws on both sides of the river that could change how you enjoy the holiday. Our Taylor Martin explains.
If you're anything like the families out at Wildwood Park today, you're gearing up for a fun Labor Day weekend out at the lake. But with new laws in Georgia and South Carolina, there are a few things you should know before hitting the water. In Georgia, a new wakeboarding law went into effect July 1st, making it mandatory for wakeboarders to stay at least 200 feet away from any dock or structure.
Any other vessels, shoreline, piers, swim areas.
And in South Carolina, boaters born after July 1st, 2007 will have to pass an approved boater education course before driving a jet ski or boat with a 10-mile-per-hour or more horsepower motor. If you don't follow this law, you'll end up with a $300 fine. Some people are happy about the new laws, like Charles Atkins, who's been coming out on the water since he was 6 years old.
Give everybody plenty of room, stay away from the shore, be mindful of other people in the water.
While it's quiet on the lake today, Georgia Department of Natural Resources says after seeing the number of DUIs on the water triple in the last year, they're gearing up with extra patrols for the holiday weekend.
We're just maintaining situational awareness on the lake here. Make sure we got as many hands on deck as possible.
They're encouraging people to be smart, keep their eyes open, and most of all,
have a good time.
Stay away from everybody and have a good time.
reporting in Appling, Taylor Martin on your side.
Some important things to keep in mind this weekend. If you want to read up more on these new laws, you can do so by going to our WRDW app or our website.
Well, investigators' worst fears coming true. A body found at a trash transfer site in DeKalb County is confirmed to belong to the missing 2-year-old. Josiah Mitchell was reported missing on August 16th after his father, Artavius North, told police Josiah was kidnapped during an armed robbery. But police arrested North a day later, saying that his story did not add up. After a week of searching, crews found what we now know is Josiah's body on the 23rd. Josiah's father, North, is currently charged with false statements and reporting a false crime, and a murder charge is pending.
The Fulton County Jail now reporting its 8th and 9th inmate deaths so far this year. This now brings the total number of in-custody deaths at the jail to 28 since 2019. Yesterday, investigators say an inmate was killed, 2 others hurt during a stabbing, and just last week, an inmate died in his cell just days after writing a letter to a U.S. District Court judge alleging poor living conditions and abuse. Back in July, the Department of Justice launched an investigation into the living conditions and multitude of other problems in the jail.
In Gwinnett County, investigators are looking into what led up to the death of 2 siblings. On Sunday, the bodies of a 16-year-old male and a 23-year-old female were found dead on the shoulder of I-85. Police say there were no vehicles near them when they were found. A family member of the siblings say the 2 were at a concert and they planned on visiting family. Now, investigators say the 2 died of gunshot wounds and there are currently no suspects.
Emory healthcare employees in Atlanta speaking out after what should have been an exciting announcement turns into some disappointment. The CEO sending a memo yesterday to employees saying next year, Juneteenth will be a paid holiday, but Christmas Eve will not be a paid holiday in return. The health system says this decision came after listening to feedback from employees, but those same employees say this is not the way to go.
Can't replace one for the other. It's pitting a Christian holiday against something that's supposed to be celebratory for everyone.
Some more consideration, even asking the employees, which day would you want to give up? That might have even worked better.
Emory Healthcare responding to questions surrounding why both holidays won't be paid by saying that adding a 10th paid holiday would impact patient care.
Well, we asked and you guys answered earlier this week. We asked you to vote for this week's Game of the Week. And more than 500 of you voted, and Silver Bluff versus Midland Valley took the cake. And the majority rules here. Just ahead at 5:30, our Under the Lights Week 3 coverage begins with our sports director, Dan Booth, all kicking off with the Game of the Week. So stay tuned. You do not want to miss that.
500 votes? More? Yeah, that's a lot. You guys guys really care about this football stuff.
Of course, it's football season.
I was making a joke.
I know.
A viral video showing a tornado caused by the hurricane flipping a car into the air. You saw this, right?
Yes.
Well, just ahead, one of the passengers in that car says she's lucky to be alive. You don't want to miss this.
Crazy video there, and luckily our weather looks much quieter heading into the weekend. Actually looking to be one of the nicest weekends we've seen in months. We'll have a look at it just after the break.
The water out here is calm now, but pretty soon plenty of people are going to be diving in for Labor Day weekend. You've heard the messages about safety on the water, but coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, a mother's message about a rare but deadly possibility you may not have heard of.
The Rooms to Go Labor Day sale.
Idalia may be back in the Atlantic, but the storm is still causing some problems ahead of Labor Day weekend. Virginia and North Carolina issuing riptide and high surf warnings for even the strongest of swimmers out there. And Riley, though Idalia is not likely to make another pass at the United States, the Atlantic is still very active for us out there.
Absolutely. Well, just take a look at this. All across the middle of the Atlantic, we got at least 4 named storms, and also we added a tropical depression to the mix. So
is this normal?
This is normal. This is kind of the peak of our hurricane season. So this isn't necessarily unusual. This was kind of expected. We are expecting an above average season. So we are hitting that kind of first week of September. That's usually when we see the most named storms across the season. So we have post-tropical storm Idalia. That's what hit us earlier this week. We have tropical storm Gert. That's back from the dead. It actually did regenerate. We have tropical storm Jose. That's the new one that formed today. And now post-tropical Franklin. That's still producing winds up to around 80 miles an hour. You can see the centers of these low pressure. They're getting close enough to each other to where we could see what's called the Fujiwara effect. So actually 2 areas of low pressure combining and creating one storm. Usually doesn't necessarily create a stronger storm, but they do combine. It's pretty cool to actually look at on satellite imagery. And this is the newest one. So tropical depression 12. This is just rolling off the western African coastline, and luckily that appears to stay over open water as we do continue into the weekend. Here locally, we just have a few high-level clouds filtering through. Mentioning this briefly, we do have some pretty steady traffic here in the eastbound lane on I-20, and westbound looks to be pretty congested too, so just be prepared for slow-moving traffic there if you are crossing Georgia into Carolina. Temperature-wise, very comfortable. 85 right now here in Augusta. Dew points in the mid-50s, a good steady east wind at 10, so 0 complaints out there. If you're heading out to SRP Park, we got the Green Jackets taking on the Salem Red Sox. Great game time looks to be picture perfect there with game time temps in the 70s and 60s. Now our weekend forecast, we are looking to stay in the mid 80s both afternoons, but I think what's going to feel the nicest is early in the morning. Take a look at our low temps tonight and early Saturday, waking up into the low 60s. Afternoon highs tomorrow, generally going to stay in the mid to low 80s across the area, so stay in below average for us thanks to this east-northeast wind. A few passing clouds at times, but we'll definitely see plenty of sunshine out there tomorrow. High temps across the board Saturday should stay in the low to mid 80s, so several degrees below average for this time of year. Definitely very nice for the weekend, first weekend of September. And then by Sunday morning, not ruling out a few lucky spots actually do hit the upper 50s. That would kind of favor our usual cool spots, places like Bushfield and just away from the city environment. But we got a bunch of big football games this weekend as well. So if you are maybe traveling across the area to catch some of these games, we have Georgia Tech. They're actually playing in the Benz tonight against Louisville. So that's going to be a kickoff temp around 75, but the Benz obviously inside. Now that's going to be tonight. For tomorrow, we got 2 night games, the Dogs and the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks are actually playing at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Kickoff temps there in the mid-70s, right around 7:30. If you're heading up to Athens, upper 70s around that 6 o'clock kickoff. And then Clemson is playing at Duke Monday night. That kickoff temps appears to be the warmest at 80. And unfortunately, they don't have a live cam for the Duke Stadium, so I had to settle for Death Valley there. But Clemson is playing at Duke Monday night. Now, for our Labor Day weekend, we're going to stay with below average temperatures. And then next week, those highs do get a little bit hotter. We're back into the mid-90s next Wednesday through Friday.
As Hurricane Idalia swept across the East Coast in Goose Creek, which is near Charleston, a small tornado swept a car off the ground. Look at that, tossed it into the air. You've probably seen this video. It's pretty incredible.
That's insane.
Yeah, but tonight we're learning one of the 2 people inside that car was an expectant mother.
And both the mother, the unborn baby, and another passenger in that car are okay. As Blair Sable shows us, the mother says it's a miracle that she's alive.
My first thought was, oh my God, I'm still alive.
Malaysia Smoke is still processing what happened to her on her way back from work yesterday. Let out early to avoid the worst of Idalia, she never saw the tornado coming. The twister swept up the expected mother and her Honda Accord several feet in the air. She had to crawl out of her back window to escape. But looking at the 21-year-old today, you might not believe it. Her doctors barely could.
I made it out of that with no bruising, no scratching, no broken bones. It was crazy.
Her baby, 5 months along, is doing well too.
It was instant relief.
The National Weather Service reports that the tornado only traveled 158 feet here at US 52 by some car dealerships, only affecting Smoke's car.
I didn't feel like the luckiest person before, but now I definitely feel lucky. I wouldn't even say lucky, like I'm just grateful. It was a miracle. Someone was looking over me.
Smoke is now taking it easy and counting her blessings. She's alive to tell the tale.
And it's just crazy that it only hit her car there, because you saw they were on a highway essentially and only hit her car. That's wild.
Well, and not just that she's alive to tell the tale, that she doesn't have a scratch on her.
No, her baby's okay too, and the passenger's all right. That is incredible right there. It also shows you the strength of some of these storms and how craziness can happen in them. Gotta be paying attention.
And just how random it all can be.
Unreal.
Wow.
Well, one man is setting the example of how to help keep Georgia's waterways clean. Just ahead, how he's doing it all from his kayak.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Lexus Acura Cadillac.
Are you too hot? Beat the summer heat with a window AC unit from Davis Appliance and Furniture for as low as $299. We offer a cool, no credit needed financing options to meet your needs. With a brand new trust at the lowest prices in town, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
I'm Mike.
Which hotel? Somebody say which hotel? I'm great at this. Dance your faves in the spa-like bathroom. Or enjoy local craft beers with breathtaking views at the Cambria. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Welcome to Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. We offer new and used appliances, and we service what we sell. We offer no credit needed financing and delivery options to meet your needs. For the top brands at the lowest prices in town, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
It's safe to say a majority of us commute to work in a vehicle.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment for us. But one man in Savannah is commuting by kayak in hopes of inspiring more people to get outside and explore Georgia's waterways.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Michaela Romero has that story.
John Diedick is always down for a challenge.
So far this year, I've done a little over 400. I think it's about 405 miles right now.
That's how many miles he has traveled by kayak just this year.
Currently, Georgia River Network's hosting a paddle-a-thon. It's a competition for paddling miles on Georgia rivers. And right now, I'm in the competition, trying to get some more mileage in. And because I work a full-time job, it's hard to get a lot of miles in. So I'm commuting home from work by kayak.
He is used to being on the water, but it being in a competition like this makes it more fun for him.
It kind of adds another dynamic to just my regular kayaking trips. And pretty consistently, I usually kayak about 500 miles a year. So it's been nice so far. It's helped.
Along with fulfilling his passion for kayaking, he has been experiencing nature on a whole other level, trying to get the most mileage in.
Our marsh is just full of all kinds of interesting ocean life. Tons of dolphins all over the place. You'll see alligators up in fresh water. And I mean, in the past week, I've even seen a shark kind of pretty close to my kayak. So it's pretty cool.
And while he is getting the experience of a lifetime, he is contributing to a bigger picture.
John is in the top 3 of our paddlers, but he is our top paddler for collecting the most trash. His efforts to collect trash are a huge help to our waterways. When we can clean up our rivers, they are more healthy and they improve our drinking water quality as well.
And he hopes his presence on our waterways makes more people want to get out and appreciate our world from a different perspective.
It's just a whole nother world out there, out on the water. There's a lot of really cool things kind of out in the marsh. There's some uninhabited islands out there. Really cool things to see along our rivers.
And what a great way to get people out and moving and helping to clean our waterways at the same time. If you're interested in participating in something like this next year, there are thousands of dollars in prizes offered for each paddle-a-thon in Georgia. Riley?
Definitely a great initiative there, and if maybe you're hitting the canal or the river out there, plus putting the kayak in, we're looking good temperature-wise. We're going to wake up in the 60s in the afternoon to the 80s and staying nice and dry through our holiday weekend. Now look at that 7-day just after break.
There's so many options when it comes to choosing a personal injury lawyer.
Some claim to get you big bucks, and some say they never lose. So how do you choose?
We say, at the end of the day, it's not about us, it's about you.
It's about you.
At the Icones Law Firm, we will work to get you the justice you deserve.
Hot tub, hot tub. All right, welcome back, folks. Here's a live look, 750 feet up. A beautiful view over the CSRE this afternoon. We got a plane overhead right here. We got a nice crystal clear look, so drier, clear air today. Feeling great. 85 degrees. Dew points are in the mid-50s, so it's not feeling humid outside. And the heat index is just a non-factor out there, so looking fantastic for high school football games tonight. Around kickoff, I would imagine we're already in the 70s for most spots by around 7:30. Halftime, we're close to 70, and in the second half, we should actually be falling into the 60s, so a great night out there. If you're heading out to football games or even SRP Park, Green Jackets still in town tonight. That first pitch is 7:05. Now, our weekend forecast here locally, we're going to stay with high temperatures just a little bit below average, most likely mid-80s Saturday, mid to upper 80s by Sunday, but staying nice and dry. Plenty of sunshine both the afternoons this weekend, and it looks like our morning temperatures will be really comfortable, waking up near 60 early Saturday and Sunday. Possibly even some 50s. I would imagine our cool spots do hit the 50s out there by daybreak Sunday, and then as we roll into next week, unfortunately, that summer heat does make a return. We're back into the 90s for our Labor Day Monday, and then back into the mid-90s by next Wednesday through Friday.
Looking forward to some of that cooler weather for us, especially as we move into good football weather for us.
Oh, yeah.
All right, stick with us. We have much more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.
On air and online.